How can we even explain this morning?
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
This morning.
This morning.
Mm.
Ah.
I'm pretty sure it was hoarfrost because rime is usually when there's a lot of fog.
Wow, you know a lot.
No, it's only because around here the environment's very different. There's ridges and then there's valleys and there's a lot of did I say ridges or rivers?
Ridges.
Rivers then in the valleys. So there's a lot of different moisture and wind, and so I at one point called something hoarfrost and someone said, "Oh no, it's rime." So then I tried to find the difference. And so yesterday, I just cut you off, sorry.
This morning.
Yeah, well, so yesterday
yeah.
It got very cold last night, I guess. Last night, very cold. It dropped really, really fast. So this morning.
First of all, in the air, they're invisible. Tiny little flakes of ice that you can't see really with your naked eye until they move just right and they catch the morning sunlight so that the air around you sparkles as if there's magic.
That will only happen at certain special temperatures and conditions too. You know, it was like fairy dust. And everything was as though it had been,
coated,
crystallized,
right?
like crystallized ginger. It was amazing.
Just but the crystal's so tiny that it wasn't, these big flakes that we sometimes get coming off.
Yeah.
It's more of this almost invisible coating where it just
encrusted, kind of, encrusted when you think of, I don't know,
Astonishing.
Okay. I was reading a poem. I really enjoy Mary Oliver. Yeah, and I think this is from her poem called Sometimes. And there's a part in it, and it goes, instructions for living a life. And then it says, pay attention. And then it says, be astonished. And then it says, tell about it. And that's what this morning felt like. Because we immediately came back and we're like, girls, you've got to see this. This is so incredible. And there's something about when we realize how special even the kind of ordinariness is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had something you shared this morning, another book that you're reading.
Yeah.
Where the author was saying...
I'll get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was really so good, and it was a very similar feeling.
This is a wonderful book that was given to us by some very good friends of ours. And it's called
Becoming Wild.
Becoming Wild.
Oh, it's not the right way. Oh, well. So he is saying, he's talking about different things, but his quote was, let's see here. I seek merely the miraculous, and for that I am positioned in exactly the best of places. A mostly wet, hard sphere in the third planetary orbit from a star called Sun, the place where miracles come so cheap that they are routinely discarded. Hard to believe, I know. It just struck me. A lot of times people in science talk about how could we even be alive? How can everything just be aligned so perfectly? And there's great debate about what that means. And if it's just random or if it's too perfect and miraculous to be random. And I think in either case, I just want to think about the miraculous, the astonishing. Because that is one of the joys about a connection with Divine Mother, is a connection with the miraculous. And that doesn't have to be something that jumps out of us and, wow, hey, congratulations, you've won the lottery. It's, wow, check out that frost.
The world is so filled with these astonishing miracles. But we can sort of pass them by. And we get so immersed in this imaginary world we're all creating, this consensus reality, and we can take it so seriously and get so worked up about it that our mind has no more room for experiencing our senses, the sensory experiences that are such a part of this whole experience, this whole unfolding. And it's all over the place. We can see out this window here, and we can see an apple tree and the sun hitting one side of the branches. And beyond that, there's the sumac with that deep, deep faded burgundy red that's scattered over before you get back to the poplar or the aspen that are kind of a pale white against the dark of the woods. There's this whole beautiful portrait, this painting, this experience, this blah, that if we aren't on some kind of spiritual path, if we aren't trying to be more aware, if we're not trying to be more mindful, then those things just pass us by.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 1,000 things that are here all the time. Words kind of fail when you start
noticing it.
Noticing and feeling. It can become overwhelming in a good way.
Yeah.
Whelming.
Whelming versus overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. I think an important aspect of this instructions for living a life is to pay attention. And that can be really challenging, but it is so worth it. And what are some ways that you pay attention to Divine Mother and how she sprinkles the little, not just frost, but magical, miraculous, astonishing moments? What are some ways that you do that?
I think it works best for me. I'm going to say works best because I have this daily effort, I'm going to say, to try to be present, to see Divine Mother's unfolding. And it works best when it turns into a game and it turns into play. And I think of her as a co-player, and she is creating all this, becoming all this, this plant, this and you, and all these things, and whoosh, in this amazing theater that I get to be a character in. And when I think of it playfully, that's when I am most, quote, successful in staying in that present place and staying aware and paying attention.
Yeah, because if you take that too seriously, I must pay attention, it becomes just another pressure in our lives. There's a lot of pressures, and a lot of them are culturally created or self-created, and we are really stuck in our heads a lot. And so if we think, oh, this is just another thing I have to do, right? It's that whole kind of bettering yourself burnout. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm drinking more water, and I'm juicing, and I'm doing yoga, and I'm meditating, and pretty soon you're like, okay, I've done the 15 things, but I'm exhausted, and I just don't feel full anymore. I'm like, whoa.
You reminded me, I just was gonna do yoga today, and I didn't.
Well, that's okay.
It's for real, but what I mean by that is that there's, I think of it as only so much mental energy that we have. And maybe some people can just willpower through it. I'm not one of them to be able to hold my attention forcefully all day long. And so when we take things seriously, what we often don't realize is that it takes up background, it takes up mental energy.
It's like static.
Just in the seriousness, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the effort that's left over for trying to meet that goal is less. Where play, to me, I feel like play adds to that energy.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And then it turns everything into, it just puts a different lens on it. So when you see something, you can have it be a moment that lightens you, that expands you, and you can just be there for it.
Yeah.
You can do the paying attention. And then if you are paying attention, you can be astonished. Yeah, go.
I wouldn't be drawn to her poem if she had said, instead of be astonished, take everything as, what's the word I'm trying to, when things are sacred, take everything as sacred. And, there are traditions, and those are perfect for some people, where they really try to see everything in a sacred sense, but that has more of a seriousness to me. And she says, be astonished.
Mm-hmm.
Let yourself
Almost like you're surprised.
be
Holy
amazed,
cow.
see the miracles,
Yeah.
get swept away into the beauty of these little tiny miracles,
Yeah.
those invisible little pieces of ice that honestly, a lot of people probably could have walked through that and
Yeah.
not noticed that the very air
was
was
crystally.
sparkling like
Yeah.
fairy dust. Because you have to pay attention.
Yeah. Well, and when you do, and you can have those moments of astonishment, you are training your brain to do that. And then you're rewarding your brain for that choice. And then you begin to do it more. And what happens is you begin to have all these moments throughout your day that light you up. And, but there's a third part that I think is really important. And I don't think it would all be the same in the poem, the same feeling, if it didn't say tell about it, because there's something in the sharing, there's something in the reciprocity, there's something delightful about knowing that another being is witnessing that, and maybe in a different way. Maybe they see it slightly differently, and maybe they even add to your experience. It can even be just sharing it with Divine Mother, calling it out loud. Divine Mother, oh, come into this amazing handmade, chocolate bar I'm eating or whatever. And in a strange way, for me personally, the sharing of it it's like when you're going to eat a particular food. There are some foods that are like this, and they're really good on their own. But if you add the tiniest bit of salt, or you add the tiniest little bit of lemon, or it somehow brings out the flavor even more. It's as though telling about it brings out the flavor even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when we tell other humans, other people, then we can help to, when we share that astonishment, it reminds people,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, this world's astonishing. It's not just the stuff on the screens. There's amazing things going on outside. There's amazing things going on in my mind. There's amazing things going on all over the place they don't have to be the curated, dished out things.
Right.
They can be these wild, messy, organic, crazy,
Just
fun
little miracles.
moments of life. Yeah.
And I love that because it makes it feel so much more accessible. I think we do get ourselves trained in by our culture, by our media, by our screens into a kind of, this is the color of life, this is the way it is, there's this routine, and it's so not routine. Sometimes what helps me experience those moments is to picture, this is going to, I don't know how to explain this, but it's sort of to characterize myself like there's Rebecca. Oh, and and I kind of look at myself from above or from outside, and I kind of witness what I'm witnessing. It's really a hard thing to explain. It's not like I'm not me, but there's sort of this widened vision. I don't know. That words don't really. Maybe you'll get what I said. Maybe a couple people will go, oh, yeah, actually, I know what you mean. But kind of taking myself out of my own brain. If I say, oh, here's Rebecca experiencing this, or I don't even necessarily think that, but it's just kind of, then I don't have all the baggage. And then I'm truly free. I'm just a creature. That's another creature. That's, there's all these, as you say, kind of manifestations of Divine Mother, and I'm just another one of them, and I can actually really be present.
Tell us what's been astonishing for you. Do you have more thoughts?
No, I just, the biggest thing is, how do you unlock the door into paying attention.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
there's so many times I myself am very guilty of this. I know I need to get out the door at a certain time because I'm, going to an appointment and I am behind. I haven't gotten, lunch yet, and the phone is ringing, and I can see all those things. It's so important that when one of my children or a person comes up and says, "Hey, I wanted to share this with you," I can go, "Not right now." And it's like saying, "No, I don't want to see the beautiful sunlight playing on the frost. No, not right now." What is actually going on? I've taken these things in my brain that I have, put better and worse and more important and less important over that. So I am curious about, what are your avenues or gateways or doorways into the paying attention? How do you remind yourself that life is about more than just, the routine, the things we think are important, that it actually is a whole bunch of miracles taking place?
Wow.
That's
That.
Yeah, that's what
asking people?
I'm curious about, because
Yeah.
I have my different methods, but I struggle with that, and I'd love to hear different ways and viewpoints of accessing that attention, as though this is the most important thing I could possibly do, is pay attention to this moment, pay attention to what Divine Mother is manifesting in my life, pay attention to this person who's wanting to share with me. Yeah, I don't ever feel very good when I take the kind of mundane modern mindset.
Can I answer the question?
Oh yeah,
Because
answer.
as you were saying that, it made me think of Mary Oliver's section of that poem, her instructions, and how I had said earlier in regards to the little flakes
Mm-hmm.
that you have to pay attention. And as I said that, I thought, well, yeah, but I mean something slightly different,
Mm-hmm.
because again, we can have that effortful and must pay attention, which often doesn't work super well for us. But when she says be astonished, there's a reciprocity that happens in her little poem there, in the sense that if I take a moment to be astonished, and you can carve out that moment kind of anytime at something, being astonished is a little bit addictive, and it gets us to go back to step one, to pay attention more, because the more we become astonished with life, then the more we pay attention.
Yeah.
Because we realize that there's these astonishing things, and then we're astonished more, and then we pay attention more, and it kind of builds up over time.
Yeah. I just sometimes can get into the opposite feedback loop.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I almost can feel as though I sense myself doing it, but I can't break free from it. But I understand what you mean. I think it's really neat, because it is almost like the curiosity that we talk about. When we have that astonishment, it's a surprise and wonder, almost a curiosity. Yeah, then we actually are way more present moment. Yeah. So maybe that's the key.
So answer our questions.
Yeah, or just
let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Yeah, wishing you lots of astonishment.
All right. Love to you all, friends.